Hello, I'm Professor Roberto Galan of the University of Seville, and I'm going to speak about I will do this lecture about the unity of the nation, in particular the case of Spain. First of all, I want to express my gratitude to Professor Dennis Galligan, who kindly invited me to participate in this amazing debate. The Putney Debates is a very old tradition debates concerning to public law, to constitutional law. And the theme is chosen for this year, 2021, is ex-professor chosen for Spain, for my country. As you know, in 2017, the 1st October, there was an attempted referendum in the region of Catalonia. This referendum was unconstitutional and provoked many consequences. After this referendum, there was a sui generis declaration of independence in Catalonia, for what the Spanish government took place and intervened the government of Catalonia, the first time in the constitutional historical life from Spain, and also the leaders, the Catalan's leader, the independent leaders, goes to prison. They were condemned to more than 10 years of jail because they committed a crime of sedition in Spain. Nowadays, they have been indulted by the government, and the things are going more better. But curiously, this is not the only case that we have separatist tensions in Spain. Already in 2005, the parliament of the Basque Country, another region where the independent tensions are high, they approved a bill calling for a referendum as well in the Basque Country. This bill was reminded to the Spanish parliament, who rejected it. And at the end, there wasn't any referendum. 1 year later, in 2006, there was I think, quite a smart initiative of the Spanish president, Rodríguez Zapatero, who tried to get a new autonomous statute for Catalonia. This statute was approved by the Parliament of Spain. It was also voted in referendum in Catalonia, but it was in opposition with the main principal party of the opposition, the Popular Party, who upheld this new statute in the constitutional court. And after this, in 2010, there became a judgment that practically annulled the three parts of this new statute. But you see, there was a great problem because this statute was approved by the referendum in Catalonia, and after this come these so terrible sentences. Never as today has the unity of Spain as a nation been so at risk. I will start this lesson with a short description of the currently Spanish regional composition. Spain, you can say, is a very highly decentralized nation. We got 17 regions we call comunidades autónomas, autonomous communities. We have also 2 autonomous cities. There are big cities. There are 2 places of sovereignty in the north of Africa, surrounding Morocco. This is an historical situation. There was an historical claim from the Kingdom of Morocco to obtain this sovereignty. Then that means that we have 17 regions with all the same institutional framework, and nowadays, at the present times, they have almost the same attribution. This was not in the beginning, but at the end of the development of this so-called autonomous state, regional state, we got a country with a very high decentralized situation, in which all the region have the same institutions. They have parliament, they have also a court justice in each region, Besides, also this is a judicial power of the state, but in each region there is a card who culminate the control of the regional legislation. There is also, of course, we got a constitutional card and a supreme card. This is the end of our judicial power. In the side of the attributions, all more or less have the same attribution or the same competence, the same level of competence. In Spain, we have transferred to the regions the management of the main service publics, such as the health, such as the education, such as the social services as well. That means that this management of this matter are always closer to the citizens. Is not managed by the Spanish government, not at all. Only in these two cities, in Ceuta and Melilla, where the government took place in the management of these competencies, of these matters. Well, as I say, it's relevant, or I have already said, that the power judicial is only now in Spain a state power, a central state power, because this is a file where we can go further if we want to decentralize more our country. It's possible. It's not easy because it's an old organization of the power of the judicial power in Spain. But if we can go further in this decentralization, obviously with a previous constitutional reform, we can get an advance in these kinds of states. I will go on talking about the method that should be resolved in order to achieve national unity in Spain. In Spain, in each constituent process, we have got more than 10 Magna Cartas in our history. In each constituent process, we got a main problem, a main issue we have to solve. Sometimes if we are a religious problem, we are confessional or not. Sometimes where the power of the army in the function of the state, or if we are a monarchy or even a republic, we got two republic systems in our history. Well, in the constituent process of 1978, that were clear that Spain has to join the rest of the nation of Europe and has to be a state with the rule of law, fully guarantee the fundamental rights. In fact, we made the adhesion to the Council of Europe in 1976. This means 1 year before the constitutional approval. It was also clear that in Spain we will have a monarchy. That was a decision imposed by the Dictator Franco, who imposed the former king, Juan Carlos. Now Juan Carlos I has run up to Arab Emirates because he had problem of corruption. And by the way, I think it's better. We should say that our current kingdom make a very hard speech during the independence declaration in Catalonia, and this is nowadays a problem we have with the normalization of the relationship between the state and the Generalitat of Catalonia. This is now by the government of independent parties as well. There was also clear that Spain has to join to the European Union, the nowadays European Union, in this time where the economic European communities, because this was a very old aspiration of the Spanish society. We got it in 1986, and it could be said that a great part of the development, the economic development of Spain have done in the recent years was due to the integration of Spain in the European community. I said that more or less now in Spain, all the region has the same level of attribution. It was not in the beginning. The system was struck to let only the historical, so-called historical regions like Catalonia, like Basque Country, maybe Galicia, who had during the Second Republic an statute of autonomy, have a certain level of self-government, to let from the beginning to have this kind of autonomy. But during the developing of this country, this state, this regional state, there was another region, my region, precisely the Andalusian region, who get the autonomy by this way. This made that all the other regions come back to this kind of organization. Nowadays, before agreement between the Socialist Party and the Partido Popular Party from Spain, the two main parties with us in Spain, there was in 1992 advance in the attribution of all the rest of the regions, and it was closed in 2002. Nowadays, Spain is a very homogeneous country with 70 regions with the same institutional framework, as I already said, and with a level of attribution very similar, except the police force that also Catalonia and Basque Country had also this attribution, and as well the jails, the system, the penitentiary system that now has Catalonia, and in very recent times will have also Basque Country, because with the end of the terrorism in Spain in around 2011, there is no problem to transfer this service that nowadays is managed by the state to this region, the Basque Country. So, and I would say that in Spain, in the recent years, we have got very hard problems with these tensions of separatism. This has an historical fundament. As you know, we in Spain we used to say that we are the oldest state in the world. Maybe it's a little bit exaggeration, but within the monarchy of the Catholic monarchs, it's the joining of the two kingdoms that were in the Middle Ages. It was the Castilian and Aragon, but surely it was later, 2 centuries later, when the kingdom, the first Bourbon monarchy, in the 17th, got the unification of the law in Spain. It's a curiosity, but the Catalonian Day, the National Catalonian Day, called the Diada, they celebrate the victory of the Kingdom of Spain against them, and the day they lost their rights. It was in the 11th September of 1711. So during the 19th century, there became a movement close to the Romanticists and began to appear vernacular sentiments, feelings, and recover their language. Also Catalonia and also the Basque Country and Galicia had their own language, different than the Castilian, the Spanish language. They recover this cultural inheritance, and nowadays I think they are with very, very good health. This is a richness we have been able to recover in the recent years. So what I say that in the 20th centuries there were emerging some independent or nationalist parties that began to look forward to a self-government during the Republic. It was also break during the Civil War in 1973 and finished with the end of the war with the victory of the dictator Franco. After this came the democracy in 1978. It was the approval of our current constitution. That I have already told, have a very, very big main problem. It has to convince the forces, these independent forces, these separatist forces, to join to the constituent process, to accept a new model of the distribution of power, the territorial distribution of power in Spain, and to participate in this role. It was not easy, but in many years, more than 30 years, it was very useful. They have collaborated very loyalty with the government in Spain, and they have contributed to the development of our country. This has ended in the last 10 years, overall in Catalonia. We have nowadays a very, very big problem, and there is no clear how is the way out came out. It's not very, very clear. Well, I will continue with the characters of the country, of our country in Spain. As I have already said, Spain is a country that based in the constitution. There is Article 2 where establishes the constitution of Spain is based in the indissoluble unity of the Spanish nation. This is what this article says. And following, saying that this unity is also admitted the autonomy of the regions and also impose the solidarity between all of them. This Article 2 is very important because in this article our constitutional court has based the reject of this movement, this independent movement. There is no doubt that Spain can be fragmented in any case without a prior constitutional reform. That it was several times have said our constitutional court. It's no possible way to make a separation without a prior constitutional reform. It has said to the Basque Country and also to Catalonia. Well, this article is followed by a prohibition that states in the Article 145.3 that forbids the federation of the regions in Spain. Spain has affirmed that they can be a federal state. This is a break, this is a limit, a very clearly limited to the federation in our country. If we want to have a federal state, like any countries in the world, we have also to make a reform and constitutional reform. We want to go this kind of way. And there is also another clause to safeguard the unity of Spain. It is in the Article 149, number 32. This article get the power to call of referendum only to the state center. That means that each referendum that could be in Spain must have the authorization of the state. This authorization normally came to the Parliament of the state, to the Cortes Generales, who has this right to authorize the referendum. So we can ask, why did the independent parties in Catalonia, why did this law to call a referendum if they know they were right sooner, and if they know that there was no way in the constitutional reform? Well, this is a question of the manner of strategy. I think this is my personal opinion. I don't know what is in the brain of these leaders. I think they were searching the international recognition. I think they follow maybe the way the Kosovo in 2008. There was a unilateral declaration of independence, in this case from Serbia, and they follow any countries that recognize, like Germany, that recognize this state. It's curiosity, Spain has not already recognized the state of Kosovo, because he was thinking maybe this could be a precedent for his own country with the region of Catalonia and Basque Country overall. Well, as I said, I think they were looking for this international protection, reconnection, that this didn't come. No one state in the world recognized this independence, no one. Only a few leaders from some countries like Nicolás Maduro in Venezuela, or other local authorities in countries like Spain that have any separatist tension. You can see in Quebec, in Canada, in Flanders, in Belgium, in other states that have also this kind of tensions of separatism in its own country. But nobody does this reconnection. Well, what our legal law say established in Spain is that clearly is not possible to call a referendum with the authorization of the state. But I must say that our constitutional card has gone further than what the Constitution expressly says, because if we go to Article number 92, this article allow the state to authorize a referendum, non-binding referendum, and it has any restriction, of course, any restriction concerning to the unity of the state. There is nothing in the Constitution, but our constitutional court has decided, has made a very critical doctrine that in this article included the prohibition of a referendum that has to be something with this kind of matter regarding the unity of the nation. For the constitutional court, the unity of Spain can be even take in consideration in a call of a referendum. Besides, it's not binding because the Article 92 not allows a binding referendum. So, whatever we think about this doctrine, in my opinion, is not very solvent. What is clear at the end, if we got the separation of one part of our country, I guess won't have happened never, but in this case took place, we have to think that there must be, because we don't have, of course, any procedure to get this separation. So it's a full consensus in the public doctrine in Spain that to do this step to make effective the separation of a part of Spain, it's necessary. It will be absolutely necessary to get a reform, a constitutional reform. In this constitutional reform, we must make an agreement to solve many things, many important things. We have seen the risks, the cause. That means that we don't have solved a question so important. For example, in the national field, what will happen with the nationality of the people who live now in Catalonia, or the people who come from Catalonia now outside? What will be with the people of Spain when Catalonia or another part of Spain is this separation make through? Is a reality. Not only the nationality, there are many questions regarding the economy. For example, what shall we do with the security, the social security, the pension, no? the jubilation pension we have in Spain? Who will pay this jubilation? What will happen, for example, with our so big public debt? We have more than 120% the international product of Spain. Who will pay this bill? The Spanish state, or together we share this so big debt we have. There are so many problems that I think it's impossible to get a real separation without any kind of agreement. So this is the reality in Spain. We have done a very long way. We have, in my opinion, we have achieved a reasonably kind of territorial distribution of the power. Nowadays, the regions, the communities autonomous in Spain, are very solvent. We have seen, for example, in the fight against the COVID-19, Spain is one of the most vaccination rate in the world. This is thanks to the region's model of Spain, because it was very decentralized and it could be possible to adapt to the necessities we have in all over country, all over our country. As I said, we have to think what will be the future. Nowadays, we face any problems that we haven't found long time ago. For example, with this process of the separatist process in Catalonia, there has been emerged a new political party, unknown in the recent story of Spain, a extreme right party who is very strong in the parliament. It's more than 52 deputies from 350 that got our Congress, our first step in the parliament system. And this is a consequence of the radicalization of the separation process mainly in Catalonia. This is one problem, but we have many problems as well. That is a problem to safeguard the unity of our nation. For example, how can we maintain, or can we keep the current financial system of the regions? This is a problem who face every country like Spain. They are very decentralized. There is a slogan that the independent parties always say. They say, Spain is still us. The meaning, this is a very rich country in Spain. Catalonia is more than 20% of the interior product of Spain. It is less than 20% of the population. That means they are richer than the rest of Spain. That means this exercise of solidarity, that I have already spoken with mainly, is in the back of these regions. Madrid, also Catalonia, also Balearic Island. They are the richest, of course, Basque Country as well, and Navarra. They are the richest regions in Spain. Now has finished the last financing system of the regions. Now they are beginning with this negotiation. Yesterday, our current president, Pedro Sánchez, has told he will arrange an agreement for the region financiering system in during this mandate. But it's very difficult because there are so many interests in play. It's not easy to find an agreement that everybody could be okay with this agreement. I think because all of this incident we have had in the recent times, there has been another problem. This is not an exclusive problem of Spain, but in my opinion, will play an important role in this kind of process. I'm speaking about the polarization of the politics in Spain. This situation that emerged in this process make that there are parties that won't never get an agreement. If we are in a situation like we have now, then a part of the territory, almost one, maybe more, one referendum, they defend without any reason that this is an exercise of democracy if they can do a referendum. What can we offer? What can offer the Spanish state to get the remaining of this part of the country? It's not easy, and with this kind of polarization, with this so distant position that the party has, it's impossible to get what we have been able to do in 1978 with the constitutional approval. It was, I have already said, it was an enormous effort of consensus. That means that you have to get something to get You have to give something to get something. This is a negotiation. Well, I think this process has done a very break in our political system. In the present moment, it's very difficult to see a possible way to solve these tensions. I can imagine how we can get it, but in my opinion, the only way to get a solution, the only manner that we can afford this situation is with the consensus of the, I won't say all the political parties in Spain, but minimum all the main political parties in Spain. So there are many problems in Spain, but as I have already said, Spain has had enormous change in the last year. Has passed from a poor country to one of the countries, the richest countries, the league of the richest countries of the world. And this is a question that we can't forget. This is something, it's different, quite different than the situation we got in 1956, the year that began the civil war in Spain. In this case, there was also independent tension. There was also an independent declaration of Catalonia. This was in 1956, the very beginning of the civil war. And I think we can think in these times. We have to look for the future. For the future, that means that we must be generous, all the parties, all the sections of our country, to achieve a new agreement, a new constitutional consensus. There could be another way out, but I think this is very risky, because I have already said that the Constitutional Court had forbidden the use of the referendum to ask the people if there is possible separation. For the Constitutional Court, this is forbidden, but as I already said, this is not imposed in the Constitution. Maybe there could be a party, normally in the left side of the parliament, who can risk to call for a referendum with this content. I think this is not the way. We have thought in the recent years what has happened when when the country has made a movement without the other part of the political parliament. That happened, for example, in 2006. As I have already said, in 2006, the Parliament of Spain approved a new Statute of Autonomy for Catalonia that what is do is to advance against the interpretation that the Constitutional Court has done of the Constitution. So it has go further against this interpretation. This statute wasn't count with the approbation of the Popular Party, who appealed this statute into the Constitutional Court. There was a judgment in 2010. This judgment was the beginning of all the process I am explaining, because in this judgment, who refused a previous referendum in Catalonia, a legal referendum in Catalonia, this is the consequences of the lacking of consensus. So I will end this speech, this lecture, say that really Spain is a risk in the unity of its nation. It's really a risk, like no anymore in the historical evolution of Spain. But we are in a better and much better situation than we have before, because now we are not a poor country like before, and we have known which is the way to achieve this goal. The goal to equilibrate all the interests we have in Spain. For me, yes, in my personal opinion, the Constitution has have achieved very good goals. We have recovered the richness of the linguistic differences in Spain, the culture, and so many things. The integration in the European Union is also a main basis in this process. Here there are many doubts what will happen if a part of Spain, I won't say anyone, separate from Spain. This part of Spain will remain in the European Union. This also something that has also we have already faced with the Scotland referendum. We don't know. This has no precedent. We have the contrary precedent. When the country joined a party of the country, Germany, the West Germany, East Germany, that automatically, without any process of adhesion, can go into the European Union. Well, I will finish this lecture. I will say that we have many problems in front of us. It's obvious, but we have also instruments, mechanisms. The decentralization in Spain, in my opinion, is one of the mechanisms we already have. It could be, we can think that this regional decentralization we have had in the last 40 years, it was a complete failure because we have got so many problems with this tension with the separatists and independent in Spain. But I'm not agree. I think this change of the state in a very few short time is a success for Spain. You can see everywhere we go over Spain, but it's obviously we keep this tension that we haven't been able to resolve. There are several things we have to get an agreement. The position, the relationship between the state and the regions. This is and all this demand that the independent parties, the separatist party, always do. We won't have a multilateral relationship between all the regions and the state. We want to accord directly with the state. Well, this is a way we can explore. There are countries who has this kind of relationship, and there are countries that go very well without any problem. It's time in Spain to be clever, to work to an agreement, and I think it's not impossible. Only just to think that what we cannot do is to be quiet. We have to look forward. We have to see all the interests that are in play, and in this way, I think if there are generosity of all the agents that are implicated in this process, we will be able to get a solution that I guess it will last more than 40 years that we already have with the constitutional period in the last time. So I finish with my lecture. Thanks for your attention, and I guess this lecture could be useful to this so interesting Putney Debates. I'm very proud to participate. Thank you very much.